Okay, it's gonna be me digging a hole. We're putting in a watering hole right there that you can see is kind of in the middle of these like interconnecting trails between my food plot and more food that way, bedding that way. So kind of in a really nice spot. If I wasn't going to put a watering hole here, I'd definitely put a scrape here. However, I might do both because deer are funky like that. So anyways, throwing that in there, I didn't want to commit to the spot until I knew that there wasn't just a giant boulder here, because there's a lot of like basketball sized ones that I've already pulled out. That's a really big hornet. So I'm gonna be throwing this in. I'll kind of show you what I'm looking for here. Obviously that is a very big water trough thing. However, it was already on the property, part of the junk that was on there. So we're gonna be using it instead of spending some extra money. So I'm gonna throw that in here. Again, this is like a really, really nice spot. My food plot is probably 80 yards that way. You can kind of almost see it right through there. So not a big fan of putting watering holes on the food plot itself. There was kind of a low spot there that held water this spring, but it dried up this year. It's been kind of a dry year. So gonna throw this in here off the food plot. Again, kind of in nice secluded cover right here. Again, right in between everything. So kind of a really sweet spot. So I'm just gonna pretty much film me digging a hole, as interesting as that is. And then I'll kind of explain how I'm gonna set this up and when I would hunt it versus hunting actually over the food plot itself. So kind of looking for a tree. That makes sense. There's actually a tree stand right there. Holy there's already a tree stand in there that I pulled out of the woods from over here just because it's a cool, like kind of old vintagey tree stand. So I just threw it in that tree because I originally was going to put my bear bait here. However, I'm yapping. I'm going to dig a hole and then I'll kind of break down what we're doing here. So enjoy. All right. I'm not as young as I once was. So I'm going to take a break. Here's the hole. It's about probably, I don't know, halfway. Maybe a little more than halfway. No, about halfway. Okay. I definitely do not recommend this. If you have any sort of equipment, I would use it. If there was no rocks in here, it wouldn't really matter, you know, but I got a right there, little pile of rocks going, but there's a lot of like this number that if you hit it, your shovel comes to a dead stop and it's a very nasty feeling on your hands and teeth. So almost done. I'm gonna quit heavy breathing into the mic and I'm gonna finish this up and show you guys the finished product. This is beautiful. I mean, all we're getting is like these little tiny ones now. Whew. We're gonna try this out. Ugh. I mean, moment of truth here, eh? Ooh, close. Like right there, actually. I probably could do that, but you can see it's a little bit higher. And I would really like that to possibly collect rain. So almost there. No point in cheating it, you know, before filling it in. So this side's probably pretty close, but I got about maybe 6 inches or so till that's in. But I mean, you kind of get the idea here. Here's a zoomed out image here. Watering hole, main path. Actually, we had a camera, I think on that tree or somewhere in here last year. And quite a few bucks came through here. I think we had a scrape somewhere on these trees. Again, very nice spot, little secluded, kind of like a security area for a buck to kind of feel confident in before he goes and checks the food plot, or whatever bucks do. So I'm gonna keep going, gonna hammer this out and keep digging. Been at this for about probably an hour straight. So maybe less than an hour, maybe 40 or so minutes. So I'm kind of taking my time. I'm old, rickety, and asthmatic. The nice thing is, when you're digging these water holes, if you're digging them and you have a heart attack, they can just put you right in them. You know what I mean? Might have to do some fetal position stuff there, but you know, plan B if this fails. So just kidding. I'm low on oxygen. I'm rambling. I'm gonna finish this up. Man, there's so many rocks out here. It's crazy. Like, here's just from one shovel load. You know what I mean? So not huge rocks anymore, but just enough to slow you down when you're out here. All right, I'm just gonna smooth this out and try that again. Man, that's right there. And there's maybe a little bit, but I think as I fill that in, it'll actually end up being a little bit below. I just don't want to fill it in, and then it ends up being a little too low, because I'm not digging that out again. Okay, so I'm almost done here. I just have to essentially just fill in the sides with some dirt here, and then honestly put a camera up, and I'm gonna get out of here. I've been in here for 2 hours, making a bunch of ruckus, and actually pretty cool. I have a bear bait on the other corner of my property, which is maybe about like 200 yards away, and I got a bear on it right now, which is, like I said, kind of neat considering I've been in here talking to myself and listening to videos for about 2 hours now. So I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna get this cleaned up so it looks like a little oasis in here and not like a big construction site. And then maybe I'll get this filled with water, or at least halfway filled with water. I'm not too sure how I'm gonna do that. Maybe just a lot of trips with a 5-gallon bucket. Or maybe I could even get my truck back in here. But I'm gonna get this wrapped up. I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's fully done here in a second. Okay, I think we're just about there. Just kind of getting this junk out of here. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect. Put some rocks in there. I don't know if it's gonna be a good idea or a bad idea, but I figured that would help kind of make it a little bit more shallow, and require a little bit less water. Ideally, I don't know, probably not. But also I noticed, look at this beautiful red oak. Very young, but in about 20 years, that might be dropping acorns right here. You know, I think there's another one right here too. Yeah, here's another one. I don't know how big they'll get in this canopy. There's another one right there behind it. There's another one. Tons of red oaks in here for some reason, even though I don't see. There's a basswood, it looks like. Poplar, basswood, basswood. There's a ton of basswood on this property. Here is I have no idea what that is. I feel like I know. Kind of looks like basswood to me, but I don't think that is. Someone's probably laughing at me right now in the video, but there's a lot of poplar trees in here. Here's a maple right here. Beautiful. There's, I think that's, what is that? It also kind of looks like a basswood. I'm probably wrong. I have no idea. I'm not a tree expert. There's a maple. Another maple. Quite a bit of maples, quite a bit of basswood. And that's another basswood over there. I'm honestly just basing everything off the leaves. Here's some raspberry bushes. This honestly could be, if you can't tell, I've had like 6 cups of coffee today. But this honestly could be a nice bear spot. You know, I know bear have been known to kind of wallow in these things. And here, I'll show you this. Since I'm rambling so much, I just got a notification on my bear bait that there's still a bear there. So that's kind of cool. See, this is what I'm thinking is a basswood, these, just based on the leaves. But prove me wrong in the comments. But here's a stick I was going to use. You can see this main trail. Here's a stick I was going to use to put in there. Not quite a stick, more of a log. You can see there's been some bear chewing on this sucker. Oh, boy. Okay, I think this is a little too big. So I might find something else to use. So I'm gonna take this out. Looking good. Oh, man. Is this different than private or public? I mean, don't get me wrong. Public. I really hope these are raspberries. Public is my favorite, but being able to do stuff that you want, hopefully this is stable. It's probably a bad idea. But I'm trying to show you guys an aerial view here. Being able to kind of control things is very nice. And I get the appeal. So this is gonna fall and I'm gonna eat my words here. But here we go. Here's kind of the old vintage tree stand. Food plot is that away. Here's the main trail coming in. And it kind of wraps around. Goes over there. Mark my words, I may kill a bear right here. Or something, you know, eventually. But can't quite see with this maple tree here, but beautiful. I am very blessed to have this land. But that might be the end of the video today, guys. And I've said that like 6 times. I may add something here at the end of me trying to fill this up with 5-gallon buckets so you guys can all laugh at me. But there you go. That is the watering hole video. I'm gonna make this very quick because it's like 95 degrees out and I'm absolutely drenched. But there's the water trough right there. It's basically full. This is a 65-gallon tank I'm using. And I kind of got to the last ring there. So I'm thinking that's probably more like a 80-gallon water trough, which is way bigger than I originally had thought. So this is basically full. I'm not gonna worry about putting more water in it. We're supposed to get a ton of rain this weekend, which I'm sure will help top this off. But basically done. I weed whacked around here just to kind of make it a little bit of a bigger area and kind of more appealing. You can hear the gun range in the background. But I put a stick in there. It's basically full. Camera set up right there. And it's basically done. So thank you guys for watching. I know this was kind of a longer video of me just yapping and digging a hole in the ground. So if you watched to the end, thank you. And I'm gonna go home and just jump in the pool.